Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Eleven Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
Tonight on Primetime, new indictments into the investigation into Ahmaud Arbery's murder after he was shot and killed while running through a neighborhood in Brunswick in Glynn County.
Plus, trying to connect the dots, what we know about the woman accused of burning down the University Avenue Wendy's and her relationship to Rayshard Brooks.
And later, a summer camp in Forsyth reports someone tested positive for COVID-19. We're talking to a pediatrician about how to keep your kids safe and healthy this summer. First tonight, we're tracking some showers.
Chris Holcomb joining us now. Chris, is there any chance of these turning severe tonight?
Not really for us here in Metro Atlanta or on the north side. However, we're watching some of these showers coming in on the south side that still have some potential to turn severe. Since we've already had rain in our area tonight, our air has stabilized a good bit. We have cooler air in place, so we're seeing just general showers here in Metro Atlanta right now. There have been a couple of pockets of heavier rain that rolled through a little bit earlier, and as those move to the east, they have calmed down somewhat. We do have light showers over us at this hour, and then over here into Walton County, we have one little lone shower that's a little bit heavier. That's going to fall apart as it moves over to the east. And then those showers that came through earlier through Cobb County, North Fulton, that were really heavy, and into Gwinnett County, those fell apart as they moved up into Hall County, but we still have more rain coming in from Alabama. But it looks like the heaviest of this activity is moving into LaGrange right now in Troup County and down near the Columbus area and on down to the south. This line has been weakening as it's pushed into Georgia, but this is the reason why we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect that does include some of our counties here on the south side, Upson County, Meriwether, Pike, and also into Lamar County. Let me show you what we're watching out there right now. This is a look at those counties that are in that thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. As I mentioned, here on the south side, Meriwether, Pike, Lamar, Upson County, those counties down to the south are the ones that are still in that watch until 10 o'clock. And it's really in that region where the chances are a little bit better that some of those storms can turn severe. Now, I really think the Storm Prediction Center is going to be updating the severe risk map very soon, because I really don't think that we should be in this yellow color or the level 2 risk anymore tonight, since our air is more stable. And I think we'll just see general showers around for the rest of the night. Stay with us. A few more showers are expected tomorrow. We'll talk about whether or not any of those could turn severe.
All right, Chris, thank you. Remember, you can download the 11 Alive app for severe weather alerts sent straight to your phone.
A Glynn County grand jury has indicted 3 men on murder charges in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, father and son, and their neighbor William Bryan, each facing 9 counts. 5 of those are murder counts. Arbery was shot to death in February while running through a Brunswick neighborhood. It took 2 months for cell phone video to surface, which showed Arbery being chased down by that white truck and then killed. That video led to anger across the United States and in this state as well. Also, the arrest of father and son Gregory and Travis McMichael, later the neighbor William Bryan. That grand jury met today in Glynn County. The announcement of the indictment came late this afternoon. Cobb County District Attorney Joyette Holmes is the lead prosecutor in this case.
As motions are filed and scheduled to be heard, we will be here and ready. This is another positive step, another great step for finding justice for Ahmaud, for finding justice for this family and the community beyond.
Arbery's family was not at the courthouse, but Holmes said they are grateful for the decision. Still, no word yet on any potential federal charges against the three men.
Tonight, there are questions about the woman deputies arrested for burning down the Wendy's on University Avenue the day after Rayshard Brooks was killed. Natalie White appeared in court for a bond hearing today. She was arrested yesterday afternoon and booked in the Fulton County Jail. Last night, protesters gathered there to demand her release. We know White is not the only suspect in this case. What we don't know for certain is what her relationship was with Brooks. Joe Hinkie following the story for us tonight.
Natalie White appearing in court by video chat from the Fulton County Jail.
All right, Ms. White, this is your first appearance. You have the right to remain silent.
Fulton County Judge Todd Ashley read the first-degree arson charge, saying on June 13th, White allegedly set a Southeast Atlanta Wendy's on fire using a lighter and some sort of can. The same Wendy's Rayshard Brooks was shot and killed outside of during an encounter with Atlanta police the day before. And he mentions the name Natalie White in body camera footage.
Natalie White, she's my girlfriend.
White's attorney Drew Findling on Tuesday confirmed with 11 Alive White knew Brooks.
We're good friends, but I'm just not going to, at this point in time, talk about the specifics of their friendship.
And in court today, Findling said White did not set the fire.
This whole, she burned a building down is just a false narrative.
Prosecutors argued this afternoon for White to receive a $20,000 bond.
At this time, they asked me for a signature bond.
Findling countered, saying his client cannot afford a bond and wanted her released with only her signature. Findling says White has stable housing and no criminal history. Judge Ashley says he still views White as a potential threat to the public, believing the fire posed a threat to anyone around the Wendy's.
That Wendy's is right next to a gas station. And so when you have fire right next to a gas station, that's a volatile combination. So I do not find the lack of a criminal record that persuasive.
The judge eventually set White's bond at $10,000, ordered her to stay off all social media, and placed her on house arrest with an ankle monitor. Meanwhile, at least one other arson suspect still remains at large. Atlanta Fire previously releasing these photos of a second person and saying the fire at Wendy's did not begin from one single spot.
In court today, White's attorney says his phone keeps ringing with calls from strangers wanting to help pay her bond. The judge says if White follows all orders, taking her off house arrest could be considered at a later date.
Atlanta police officers spent part of the day cleaning barricades that had been set up along University Avenue close to the Wendy's where Mr. Brooks was killed. Neighbors told us they had not felt safe there for several days. Neighbors had complained to the city that a group of young people with guns had taken over the area burned down at the Wendy's, and they said they couldn't get in and out of their homes because those young people were blocking the road. They told us there were loud noises late into the night. Earlier this week, we began covering the story. Several people asked us what the mayor's stance was on this. We have reached out to her office several times. We have not heard back. You can hear our interviews with those who live in that neighborhood, and you can hear what Atlanta's interim police chief had to say about it in our story on 11alive.com.
The former officer accused of killing Rayshard Brooks has a new court date and legal support. Garrett Rolfe's bond hearing had been set now for June 30th. That's next Tuesday. And today, the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund announced it is going to support him when it comes to legal fees. Caitlin Ross spoke with the group's president about their decision.
The Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund just announced they'll pay all the costs associated with defending former Atlanta police officer Garrett Rolfe in the murder case. They're a national nonprofit based out of Virginia where they research cases they believe officers have been wrongly charged. They've been involved in high-profile cases in Baltimore and New Jersey. The president of the nonprofit talked to 11 Alive today and said what happened to Mr. Brooks was a tragedy, but he does not believe it was murder. In reviewing the videotape from that night, he says he believes Rolfe acted appropriately and that the district attorney rushed to judgment when filing charges.
It's very, very important, no matter what anyone's perspective on policing or where policing is in this day and age, to understand that you really have to actually investigate what happened with all available evidence before you can make a decision about whether it's warranted to take that kind of disciplinary action or whether it's warranted to pursue criminal charges. When you cut out the investigative step, you're really setting the bar in a place where, unfortunately, I think down the road we're going to see a lot of acquittals, and there's going to be a lot of unhappy and disappointed people who thought that the fact that these officers were charged meant that they were actually guilty.
He says all of their funding comes from private donations, and they expect to spend up to $250,000 defending a murder charge. He hasn't been in touch with Rolfe directly, but he is working with Rolfe's legal team.
Here are a few more local headlines we are following for you tonight. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta cast member Maurice Fain has been indicted by a federal grand jury in connection to loans from the Paycheck Protection Program. That program intended to help small businesses impacted by COVID-19. The indictment claims Fain applied for a loan of more than $3.7 million for his business, but he's accused of using the money to lease a Rolls-Royce, buy expensive jewelry, and pay child support. Heads up, Atlanta professional soccer is back. Atlanta United announced its first game will be against the New York Red Bulls on July 11th as part of the MLS is Back tournament in Orlando. We'll have more coming up later tonight in sports. And the wait is over for Atlanta Public Schools class of 2020. The district will officially hold in-person graduations next month. All 14 schools will have a ceremony from July 20th to the 23rd at Lakewood Stadium. Social distancing and other safety guidelines will be enforced. The full schedule is posted on the district's website.
Today, a reminder from Governor Kemp that COVID-19 still is a large threat to Georgia. Restaurants and bars have reopened with some social distancing measures, but the governor today posted a video asking people to wear masks and to practice social distancing.
While I'm proud of our swift response and measured steps forward, we cannot grow complacent. This virus is deadly and remains a threat to our great state. Let's stay vigilant in the fight to stop the spread of COVID-19.
In Troup County, a large number of people testing positive for COVID-19 are inmates in the jail, more than 70 to be exact, and they are bringing in an expert from Emory to try and help out. Here's Christy Diaz.
The Department of Public Health reports 186 new infections in Troup County just in the last week, a large number of positives coming from inmates at the county jail. The sheriff reports out of 316 inmates who were tested, 71 tested positive, and out of 48 tested staff members, 2 tested positive. Now they're working with the sheriff's office to get all the positive inmates quarantined and separated from general population. But the sheriff says that's more complicated than it sounds.
There's two things we've got to do. We've got to get them away from the general population, but we also have to be mindful of their charges. You know, we can't put people that are dangerous in there with a young kid that's in there for driving on suspended license.
They plan to use the annex just up the hill and a separate part of the jail to quarantine the inmates. And tomorrow, Dr. Ann Spalding, a professor from Emory who specializes in correctional facilities, will do a walkthrough and give recommendations on how best to handle the outbreak. In the meantime, the sheriff says they're providing inmates with masks, even though they can't force them to wear it.
The jail in Troup County, a reminder that COVID-19 can impact residents anywhere. According to the Department of Public Health, the county had a total of 1,027 positive cases since the outbreak began, more than half of those cases over the last 2 weeks. We now know 98 of those total cases came from the inmates and staff at the Troup County Jail. Another 92 came from long-term care facilities such as nursing homes. As for the state overall, we saw another jump in the numbers today as the Department of Public Health announcing 1,703 new positive COVID-19 cases. That brings our total number of positive cases closer to 70,000. We keep track of the numbers and the trends surrounding COVID-19 every day in our state to help keep you informed, and you can always find our research and latest information in our special coronavirus section on 11alive.com.
Those who want police reform in Georgia say it could be a tough road, especially with the passage of a new bill that gives more power to police. We'll have details on that next. And don't forget, as always, we are streaming right now on the 11 Alive YouTube channel. You can subscribe and join the conversation in the community section. There's more 11 Alive News Primetime after this.
today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around.
Other on-the-job shooting. The story on Up Late at 11.
Backers of police reform bills in the legislature say the outlook has dimmed in spite of passage of a hate crimes bill. A separate bill passed yesterday that broadened the power of police to file lawsuits against people they think are targeting law enforcement. 11 Alive's Doug Richards has more from the state capitol.
Republican House Speaker David Ralston has said that he would make a priority of police reform bills in the 2021 session of the legislature. But backers of such reform say they aren't convinced. On one hand, Democratic lawmakers have filed multiple bills that would require police to wear body cameras, restrict their use of tear gas, tasers, and chokeholds. Republicans have promised to study police reform through the remainder of this year. On the other hand, the Republican majority passed a bill Tuesday that would allow police officers to sue people or organizations or the head of an organization for damages suffered during the performance of the officer's official duties, which broadens the power of individual police officers, at least in court.
All we have done is fool the people by giving them a hate crime bill, and on the other end, you've given them more police powers than they've ever had before.
Abel Mabel Thomas is among those who hope lawmakers will rein in police powers, but think the passage of that bill Tuesday signals that's not likely.
They're expecting that once the protesters stop, being in the street, then what will happen is we'll go back to business as usual in the state of Georgia.
I have deep roots in law enforcement, and there are a lot of people that are leaving now.
Bill Hitchens spent 43 years in law enforcement before he became a legislator. He says Republicans will look at police reform, but with an analytical eye.
I think there's probably room for some change. Very obviously, a lot of people want to take a close look, but let's get some of the emotion out of the thing and look at the facts and figures and try and deal with it again next year.
All of the police reform bills introduced and mostly ignored in this legislative session would need to be reintroduced next year to get consideration again.
And we still are tracking some generally light showers that are out there right now. A pretty good coverage of these light showers around metro Atlanta, over to the west and also to the south of us. A few more breaks in that up in North Georgia where things have dried out just a little bit. But we're seeing more of this moisture that keeps feeding in here. And we're going to continue with these light showers for much of the evening hours. The question is, will there be any areas that will have any additional strong thunderstorms? We had some that came through earlier where we had some damage reported here in the northern parts of Washington Walton County, just north of Campton, north of the Monroe area, south and to the west of Bethlehem. This is mainly in the Bold Springs area where we had some reports of trees down along Overlook Lane with that thunderstorm wind damage. This is Bold Springs Road. You also have Highway 11 over here north of Campton. We also had some reports of some damage there too. I've got a picture I'm going to show you coming up in just a second of that damage that was sent in by one of our viewers. But now that that has moved away, we have just light showers back behind here, and we had some heavier rain that came through the northern parts of the metro area, North Fulton, into Cobb, Cherokee County, Forsyth County, Gwinnett. But then as that moved to the north, that even fell apart as well. And then we're watching that additional rain that's coming in. We're keeping an eye on this part, especially around LaGrange. That's the northern part of this line that was really strong back in Montgomery. That is what prompted this severe thunderstorm watch to be issued. This line, though, is really falling apart, and that watch is supposed to expire at 10 o'clock. I wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service canceled this watch a little bit early since these showers are diminishing. But I still want to watch folks on the south side in Upson County, Meriwether County, and Pike and Lamar counties. You are in that severe thunderstorm watch as those storms still on the south side have the potential to still turn a little bit strong. Here's a live look at Newnan, speaking of the south side, where things are wet, where we have those light showers that are moving through. And over in Athens, we had some heavier rain earlier. This is a live look there from our tower cam. Now just some light rain still lingering behind. The roads are wet, but nothing too strong in that area right now. Here's that picture I was telling you about. This was sent in to us by Joanna Dykes in the Bold Springs area in the Providence Club of the trees that came down earlier from those storms that rolled through. These were strong thunderstorm wind gusts that caused those trees to come down. And we had additional reports of damage around Walton County earlier today. Again, here are those counties in that severe thunderstorm watch. You see that also scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Upson County, Meriwether, Pike and Lamar, and those counties down to the south into central Georgia where we have that chance for those storms that still could turn strong. Tomorrow, our severe weather risk is really non-existent. We're going to have a few scattered showers, but we think there'll be general showers and below what we would call severe storms. So we're not really worried about that tomorrow, but we will have a few scattered showers around. Temperatures today made it in the low and mid 80s, but then when the rain came through, it cooled things off, and we're still holding in the 70s out there right now. It's 74 in Atlanta, 70 in Carrollton, 71 in Marietta, still over at Athens at 75. So tonight, again, we're watching those showers to the west of us that are falling apart as they move in. It's on the south side where we have that potential for a few of those heavier showers. And then tomorrow, starting off dry. Once we get to lunchtime, a mixture of sunshine and clouds. In the afternoon, still a mix of sun and clouds. And as you can see, just a few spotty showers around, but nothing particularly strong or widespread. And then on Friday, rain chances a little bit lower. We're only going to have about a 30% chance for showers here on Friday. And then dry weather into the weekend, too. So 82 for a high Thursday, 86 on Friday, warming up a little more. And then near 90 on Saturday and Sunday, watching for the hazy skies thanks to that dust layer that's coming in from the Sahara. That's really the only impact we're going to have. It's going to be in the upper levels there with some colorful sunsets and sunrises, we believe. And then back to a 30% chance for showers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with high temperatures mid to even some upper 80s. Stay with us. We've got much more coming up on Prime Time.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear.
Baseball is coming back next month, a 60-game sprint to the postseason, and we are seeing athletes test positive all over the place for COVID-19. Many sports are full speed ahead, great sense of optimism that it will be business as usual. Joining me right now, syndicated columnist and humorist Ron Hart. Ron, I want to have a sense of optimism about baseball and football coming back, but then I take a look at what happened at Clemson. I take a look at what happened at LSU. There's no way this is going to come off as easily as these professional leagues are projecting.
Right, and we're in this new woke world we're in right now. UGA's problem is that half their players are going to have to apologize because University of Georgia, half of them played in the blue-gray game for the South, so they're going to have to make amends for that at some point, I think, this season.
All right, we move on to politics now. President Trump and Joe Biden have scheduled 3 debates. The president wanted more, but the former vice president wants only 3, and he will stick with that. Do debates still matter in presidential politics, in your estimation?
Yes, they do, especially in this case when there's some doubt about Biden's capabilities at this stage of the game. The CNN's already declared him the winner of the first 2 debates. I don't know if you saw that, but you remember how rancorous the other debates between Hillary and Trump were, and there was accusations that Trump was on cocaine at the time. I think, remember, 4 years ago. So there's no way Trump is on cocaine. It's impossible. That would block his reflection in the mirror, and he would never do that. So that was a bad rumor back in the day. But I wish they would just get back to normal issues, like, away from the world we're in right now, like global warming and basic things like that, because studies show global warming is the #1 cause of documentaries in America, Jeff. Found that out the other day.
I wish we had a drummer here to do the rim shots, because I feel like I'm playing the role of straight man here and not
trying to put some levity in the news.
Not doing a very good job of it. You and I are old enough, I think you're old enough to have some remembrance of 1968. I remember as a boy, and you're younger than I am, but it was a very, very frightening time as a kid, and my parents had no ability to explain it to me. I think there are a lot of children that are greatly, for lack of a better term, freaked out by what's going on, about the violence they see on television and what's going on.
68, there was you had Dr. King, nonviolent, doing a great job of making his point to people by his actions. Today, the rioting and looting really detracts from the real message that they're trying to get across. And look, I'm a libertarian. I'm for defunding everything. I wish we'd defund all of government and just fund back what we want and what we miss down the road. So I kind of am on the same side as BLM on a lot of different issues. The police force maybe has gotten too big. Maybe the police force has gotten their message and their mission has gotten a little bit strayed. It needs to be more social services. Certainly see that in the world we're in today.
Ron Hart, thank you. We appreciate it as always. Have a good week.
Thank you.
That lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions, because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing.
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Storm Trackers, and we still have some good coverage of mainly light rain around metro Atlanta right now. Some breaks in the action up in North Georgia where there's no active rain falling, but in the North Metro area, Northwest Georgia, and then on the south side, that's where we have that better coverage of rain. It's mainly light, but we do have some spots, especially south and west of the city, where that rain is a little bit heavy. You can see general showers here in Atlanta, but when you go down over here to the south and west of us, down 85 through Coweta County, down into parts of Heard County, also into Meriwether County. This is where we have some of those heavier showers that are moving through. We did have some thunder and lightning with this earlier. However, that's now weakened, and it looks like it's going to continue weakening as it moves up toward the north and to the east. And it's that line that we've been watching coming out of Alabama. That is what has prompted the severe thunderstorm watch for areas down in mainly middle Georgia. This does include some spots in our southern viewing area like Upson County, Meriwether, Pike, and Lamar counties. But this is really weakening pretty well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel this watch earlier. It's supposed to expire at 10 o'clock tonight. Take a look at what we're watching out there. We do have this picture that came in from David Binder in Loganville, and we had some strong storms in Walton County earlier. Even though Loganville didn't get the storms, you could really see the dark clouds to the north part of the county where we did have some damage over near the Bold Springs area just a little bit earlier. Here's another look at those counties on the south side in that severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. Meriwether, Pike, Lamar, and also Upson County and those counties down to the south as well. Stay with us. Now that our air is stabilizing, we really think that here in metro Atlanta and on the north side, we don't have to worry about any severe storms. We do have additional showers that'll redevelop tomorrow. We'll talk about the chances that any of those could turn strong in just a few minutes.
Chris, thank you. Georgia's hate crime bill now moving on to Governor Kemp's desk. It creates harsher penalties for crimes motivated by race, sexual orientation, or religion. A similar bill failed in the state Senate last year, but there was a new sense of urgency for the hate crime bill. The video, once it was released, showing the death of Ahmaud Arbery in Glynn County. He was, as you know, shot to death while running in February through that area. One of the men accused of killing him told police he thought Arbery was behind the recent break-ins in the area. His family says he was profiled because he was black. Ahmaud Arbery's mother says the hate crime bill is an important step, but just one of many. She talked to Hope Ford about the bill and what comes next.
I'm happy, but at the same time, I have to snap it back into reality that Ahmaud is gone. But, you know, his name will live forever, I think.
Ahmaud Arbery's mom, Wanda Cooper, exhausted but happy over the passage of a hate crime bill on Tuesday. She hopes the move will prevent other mothers from experiencing the same pain of losing a child in a potentially racially motivated crime. Her lawyer, Lee Merritt, points to the bill as one of several long-term takeaways created out of the current Black Lives Matter movement.
This new law is in place, and it will be in place next week or next month or next year when this issue is no longer trending.
The bill went back and forth in the legislature for a week, first adding police as a protected class under the law, then removing them and placing police protections under a separate bill that passed, a move that Georgia NAACP President Reverend James Woodall says proves there's more work to be done.
When we already have laws on the books that increase the penalty for crimes committed against that particular profession, and to only add to that in this moment signals to us that Black lives really just do not matter.
The vice president of the Anti-Defamation League calls the statute a defining moment in Georgia history with a clear message.
We are going to value you as an individual, and we're going to protect you.
But everyone agreed the bill is just the beginning, one piece of a much larger puzzle.
We must continue to stand together. We must continue to support and make sure that we get change. We just can't stop.
As European countries prepare to reopen their borders, the European Union plans on blocking visitors from countries with severe coronavirus outbreaks. And that would include the United States. NBC's Keir Simmons has more on how the decision could create some international tensions.
Representatives of European countries are discussing which citizens from around the world to allow into the European Union for non-essential travel, things like vacations and business. Right now, 2 European Union diplomats tell NBC News that America is not included in that list of citizens who would be acceptable to travel to the European Union for non-essential business after July the 1st. Now, the calculation is being made based on infection rates, and of course, the infection rate in the US is higher than in Europe. It's important to point out, too, that no decision has been made at this point, and that even if a decision is made, individual European countries will have the right to not follow that guidance. But just to give you an example of how difficult, how tricky a decision this is, infection rates in China are lower than in Europe, so potentially Europe may decide to allow Chinese citizens for non-essential travel, but not Americans. We've talked many times about how the coronavirus can cause diplomatic tensions around the world. This is a good example.
The coronavirus pandemic, unlike anything the country has seen in more than 50 years. Pandemics of this magnitude are rare, but they do happen. Here's our Why guy, Jerry Carnes.
Our history books are filled with masked repetition. Pictures of masked travelers quarantined on a cruise ship are nothing new. Long before COVID-19, there was the Spanish flu that spread to 1/3 of the world's population, killing 50 million.
Really horrifying accounts of patients. As soon as they got into the hospital, they died.
Pandemics of that magnitude are rare, but over the past 100 years, there have been 2 others that have taken more than 1 million lives worldwide. Let's look at why they happen. Viruses mutate. Most of the time, the changes don't mean much to us.
Mutations in viruses occur all the time, and it is a little bit of a luck of the draw where that change happens.
Sometimes bad luck is involved. The genetic makeup of a virus determines how well it spreads or if it can cause severe illness. The Ebola virus is often deadly but doesn't transmit that easily. Others spread but with mild illness. And then there are those rare times.
You have the combination that transmits quickly. The second, it could be a disease that could be quite severe. There you have a recipe. That is what we have with COVID-19.
According to the CDC, a flu virus can shift in a way that allows animals to infect humans who would have little or no immunity. Pandemics don't necessarily come decades apart. In 1957, the Asian flu killed 1.1 million people worldwide. It was followed in 1968 by the Hong Kong flu that took almost as many lives and had some of the same genetic makeup as the virus that swept the world 11 years before.
If you have a question for Jerry Carnes, our Why Guy, you can send it to us on Facebook, Twitter, or email. We'll take a break. We're back right after this.
From 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from...
A vote in the Georgia State Legislature has cleared the way for voters to decide whether to dissolve the police department in Glynn County. It is the same county police agency that responded to the Ahmaud Arbery case but did not make an arrest. Faith Abube walks us through the new developments.
On the passage of Senate Bill 509.
2 victories in 2 days.
Is therefore passed.
For state lawmakers looking to abolish the Glynn County Police Department.
Ayes are 159. The nays are 3.
And a third, Senate Bill 38 passed Friday. Clears the way for those who live in the county to have a voice on the matter. It'll come in the form of a vote in November.
It allows the voters of Glynn County to vote to transfer the police power from the Glynn County Police Department to the office of the Sheriff of Glynn County.
Senator William Legan co-sponsored the bills after a grand jury recommendation in September 2019. We told you back in May that the grand jury said the Glynn County Police Department had, quote, an ongoing culture of cover-up, and that voters should decide in 2020 whether the department should be merged with the sheriff's office instead.
And we decided to go the route of a non-binding referendum to perhaps give the county some time to make adjustments.
But then the Ahmaud Arbery shooting happened in February.
There was some questions as to why the police department did not refer that case to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation because of connections which the accused had to law enforcement departments in Glynn County. And of course, there were also no arrests. And so the decision was made then to let's go ahead and go back to our original plan.
The change meant a new bill that gave voters more than just a symbolic vote on the matter. If approved by voters in November, the Glynn County Police Department will be no more on May 2nd, 2021.
This is not in accordance with any effort to defund police. The people of Glynn County want law enforcement. I want good law enforcement. We just want to bring order and peace and to settle some of the issues that have plagued our community throughout the years.
It's Faith Abube reporting for us tonight. And even though the bills passed the legislature almost unanimously, there has been some opposition, including a Glynn County commissioner who sent a letter to the House Black Caucus asking for them to vote against it. The bill's now going to head to the governor's desk for his signature.
Sweeping police reforms are getting more popular among Americans. That's according to a recent survey by Reuters and research firm Ipsos. There are questions, though, as to what that will look like. But as Sarah Dolph reports, several cities are finding success sending social workers to certain types of emergency calls.
Amidst calls for police reform across the country, a new program launched in Denver. The Support Team Assisted Response, known as STAR, dispatches a mental health clinician and paramedic to behavioral health 911 calls instead of armed law enforcement.
This is preventative medicine for police violence.
Denver Justice Project co-chair Roshan Bliss helped develop STAR, modeling it after the Cahoots program in Eugene, Oregon, that's been around for more than 30 years, and last year responded to 17% of the city's 911 calls. Bliss believes STAR can do the same, de-escalating situations without force and connecting vulnerable citizens with critical resources.
It's a more effective response because we're sending the right people to deal with the right problems.
In Dallas, the Right Care program, a partnership between Parkland Hospital and City Fire and Police, has responded to 6,600 mental health calls since 2018, leading to a drop in arrests in the areas it serves.
We've diverted 30% of people away from jails and away from busy ERs. We've connected over a fifth of those clients to mental health services. Our incarceration rate is less than 4%.
It's now expanding and could potentially serve as a blueprint outside Dallas.
I think it is scalable, and I think that it could be used in other cities.
Programs that work to provide a more effective crisis response, drawing the attention of those calling for change.
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Storm Trackers. We still have some light rain that we're watching in our area right now, and the severe weather threat has pretty much diminished. You'll notice that at the bottom of the screen, we're not rolling the crawl anymore. That is because that severe thunderstorm watch that did impact some areas on the south side has just been canceled, and that's due to those storms that are moving in from Alabama. They're a lot weaker, and they no longer pose a threat for severe weather. So we're dealing with mainly just a few scattered light showers over us right now. There are a couple of pockets of more moderate rain down on the south side, but here in Atlanta, mainly light rain moving through the area. Just a good soaking rain to have here during an evening hours. And then we've been watching some of those heavier showers coming out of Alabama. You'll notice this trend here that the reds and the oranges are all falling apart as they come in from Alabama. They were heavier back in the parts of LaGrange, some of that in Meriwether County, a couple of pockets of moderate rain, the southern parts of Coweta County. That's moving into Pike and Lamar. But remember, these are the counties on the south side that were in that severe thunderstorm watch a little bit earlier, but now that has just been canceled early. It was supposed to expire at 10, but now it's no longer in effect. And this is why that area of rain that we've been watching, it was really strong back in Alabama between Montgomery and the Florida Panhandle. But as it's moved into Georgia, this is really all that's left of it west of Macon. We're not even really seeing much in the form of any lightning left with that either. So here's what we're watching. This is a live look. This is in Rome. The roads are still wet as we're still dealing with some of those light showers that are in the area right now up in northwest Georgia, as well as up in Blue Ridge, where we still have some wet roads. A couple of, actually not as many light showers now up in Blue Ridge, and that's where things have dried out a little bit over parts of North Georgia. Take a look at what we're watching out there with the almanac for today. Temperature's not too bad. We were actually 5 degrees below the average. We got up to 83 for a high this afternoon. We should be around 88 for this time of year. And we've had about 0.03 of an inch of rain officially at Hartsfield-Jackson. I know some of you picked up more rain than that. And if you're wondering when we hit 83, it was actually early afternoon. We started off this morning in those upper 60s, right at 69 degrees, and then temperatures were climbing today. Pretty good coverage of clouds around, some sun breaking through at times, got up to 83. And then we saw the rain coming in, and that's when the temperature started falling back down into the 70s, and we're in the 70s now. We're going to be holding in the 70s pretty much for the rest of the evening hours and overnight too. We're still tracking those storms as they're diminishing, but we're going to watch the rain chances a little bit lower tomorrow. Still a few scattered showers around, but not as many as we head out there today, and I'm not worried about a severe weather threat for tomorrow either. And then for the weekend, we're watching some of that Saharan dust that's coming in all the way over from Africa. That'll be in the upper levels. It's going to give us some hazy conditions here for the weekend. Still going to be warm though, with temperatures near 90 both days on the weekend. We're 74 right now. Most places now, really all of us, are in the 70s except for Blairsville, where it's a little bit cooler at 69 degrees. When that rain came in, it cooled us off, and now we're pretty much going to be here in the 70s for the rest of the nighttime hours. Now, you can see the light rain on our forecast track, and pockets of those more moderate showers on the south side. I really think that model was overdoing that a little bit with that heavier rain on the south side. It's mainly going to be light stuff. And then early tomorrow, mostly cloudy to start, and then by afternoon, we may have a couple of breaks in those clouds here with just a few scattered showers. It's not going to be really widespread at all, just a few of those hit and miss showers around, and the ones that develop we don't think are going to be too strong. And then on Friday, rain chances on the low end, only a 30% chance for a few of those isolated showers here on Friday. And then rain chances even lower for the weekend at 20%. But again, some of those hazy conditions around. We'll see highs tomorrow at 82, then warming back up to 86 on Friday. Upper 80s to near 90 Saturday and Sunday with a 20% chance for showers and that hazy condition due to that Saharan dust that's going to be moving in. And then back to a 30% chance for showers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. 88 for a high Monday, 87 Tuesday, 86 on Thursday with just a few of those spotty showers around.
Some breaking news right now. The woman accused of setting fire to the Wendy's on University Avenue is out of jail. You might remember that fire happened during protests the day after Rayshard Brooks was killed. Natalie White appeared in court for a bond hearing earlier today where she was granted a $10,000 bond and ordered to house arrest without social media use. She was arrested yesterday afternoon and booked into the Fulton County Jail. We'll hear from her attorney later on in 11 Alive News Primetime. We'll be right back.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
A summer camper in Forsyth County has tested positive for COVID-19. They were at the Sawney Mountain Preserve. They didn't have any symptoms, but were tested as a prerequisite for a camp that they were planning to go to next week. All campers and staff have been notified, and it brings up an important conversation for parents as camps are back open and COVID-19 numbers are increasing in some parts of our state. I talked to pediatrician Dr. Kiana Washington about that and also the importance of getting children in for their regular checkups this summer.
There are camps that will be happening in July, and many of those camps are requiring the children to have a COVID test before they come to camp. Now, most pediatrician offices do not offer that test in the office. However, it is important to talk with your pediatrician about how to go about getting that test, what's going to be the best place to go, and what does the test result mean. And what I talk to my families about is, okay, we've got the test and it's negative. Now, how do we make sure it stays negative from now until the time your child goes to camp? Because that would be a disaster, right? To have a negative test and then in the next 7 days acquire COVID and then go to camp. So we want to make sure that we keep it negative until you actually go to your camp.
COVID-19 is sort of an ongoing reality and will be for quite some time. So it's finding the ways to continue the important medical care that needs to happen on an ongoing basis.
And for our healthcare system, the last thing we need is an outbreak of a vaccine preventable illness like whooping cough or measles in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic. We really need to control what we can, and we can control those other illnesses that can be very well prevented by vaccines.
What are the most common concerns and questions you're hearing from moms and dads right now?
How do I make my child wear a mask? He or she does not want to wear a mask. And I would say, I think we need to have more faith in our children than sometimes we do. Again, I'm a pediatrician. I have a 2.5-year-old, and I had not tried a mask with her because I just assumed she would not wear it. However, she saw me wearing it, going in and out every day, going to work. And so when it was time for her to go to her checkup, I was like, oh goodness, okay, now you have to put on your mask. And she said, okay. And she put it on and she kept it on the entire time. No problem at all.
My 4-year-old thinks it's just like an extension of his dress-up game. My mom sewed him a Lightning McQueen mask, so he's like, this is the coolest thing ever, you know?
Yeah, this dress up, we're superheroes. My 6-year-old says, we're coronavirus superheroes. So it's, whatever it takes to help them to be safe. Also just teaching them about hand washing and hand sanitizing and how it's important to do that frequently.
All right. Thanks a lot to Dr. Washington for the good advice. She's really encouraging parents to schedule those appointments, saying that the offices have a lot of safety procedures in place so you can feel safe going to do that. We have a lot more for you with her on 11alive.com. In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
I'm pissed. I'm mad because people are trying to test my character and the person that I am and my integrity.
NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace reacting after the FBI announced no charges will be filed in the investigation of a reported noose found hanging in his garage at the Talladega Superspeedway. Authorities concluding yesterday that the noose had been in the garage since last year. It was a loop that was a garage pull down when the rope was discovered by Petty Motorsports on Sunday. NASCAR was alerted and the FBI sent 15 agents to the track to investigate. The agency ultimately ruled that no hate crime was committed. Again, it is important to note that Wallace, who is the only full-time black driver in NASCAR, was not the one to report the incident, but now he has been getting the bulk of criticism online. He shared his thoughts on the Today Show.
I was relieved, just like many others, to know that it wasn't targeted towards me. But it's still frustrating to know that, you know, people are always going to test you and always just going to try to debunk you. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around now.
The racing team occupying the garage stall in October 2019 issued a statement saying they were as shocked and appalled as anyone to learn of the rope was fashioned like a noose.
So to come on primetime, 3 men indicted on murder charges in the death of Brunswick jogger Ahmaud Arbery. Hear from the DA handling the case, plus a look at what's next. COVID-19 cases in Georgia still climbing. We're looking at why some of our hard-hit communities are still struggling to contain the rate of infections. Plus, a battle brewing at the state capitol over absentee ballots, what a new bill could mean for the way you cast your vote this fall.
11 Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
A Glenn County grand jury has indicted 3 men on murder charges in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, and William Bryan each face 9 counts. 5 of those are murder counts. Arbery was shot to death in February while jogging through a Brunswick neighborhood. It took 2 months for cell phone video to surface which showed Arbery being chased down and killed. That video led to anger across the nation and also the arrest of the father and son, Gregory and Travis McMichael, and later the neighbor, William Bryan. The grand jury met today in Glenn County, and the announcement of the indictment came late this afternoon. Cobb County District Attorney Joyette Holmes is the lead prosecutor in this case.
As motions are filed and scheduled to be heard, we will be here and ready. This is another positive step, another great step for finding justice for Ahmaud, for finding justice for this family and the community beyond.
Arbery's family was not at the courthouse, but Holmes said they are grateful for the decision. There's still no word yet on any potential federal charges against the 3 men. Some breaking news for you tonight. The woman accused of setting fire to the Wendy's on University Avenue is out on bond. You see her there walking out. The fire happened during protests the day after Rayshard Brooks was killed. Natalie White appeared in court for a bond hearing earlier today. She was arrested yesterday and booked into the Fulton County Jail. Last night, protesters gathered there to demand her release. Now, we know White is not the only suspect in this case. What we don't know for certain, though, is what her relationship was with Brooks. Our Joe Henke following the story for us tonight.
Natalie White appearing in court by video chat from the Fulton County Jail.
All right, Ms. White, this is your first appearance. You have the right to remain silent.
Fulton County Judge Todd Ashley read the first-degree arson charge, saying on June 13th, White allegedly set a southeast Atlanta Wendy's on fire using a lighter and some sort of can. The same Wendy's Rayshard Brooks was shot and killed outside of during an encounter with Atlanta police the day before. And he mentions the name Natalie White in body camera footage.
Natalie White, she's my girlfriend.
White's attorney Drew Findling on Tuesday confirmed with 11 Alive White knew Brooks.
We're good friends, but I'm just not going to, at this point in time, talk about the specifics of their friendship.
And in court today, Findling said White did not set the fire.
This whole, she burned a building down is just a false narrative.
Prosecutors argued this afternoon for White to receive a $20,000 bond.
At this time, they asked him for a signature bond.
Findling countered, saying his client cannot afford a bond and wanted her released with only her signature. Findling says White has stable housing and no criminal history. Judge Ashley says he still views White as a potential threat to the public, believing the fire posed a threat to anyone around the Wendy's.
That Wendy's is right next to a gas station. And so when you have fire right next to a gas station, that's a volatile combination. So I do not find the lack of a criminal record that persuasive.
The judge eventually set White's bond at $10,000, ordered her to stay off all social media, and placed her on house arrest with an ankle monitor. Meanwhile, at least one other arson suspect still remains at large. Atlanta Fire previously releasing these photos of a second person and saying the fire at Wendy's did not begin from one single spot.
Atlanta police officers spent part of the day clearing barricades that had been set up along University Avenue close to the Wendy's where Brooks was killed. Neighbors told us they hadn't felt safe there. For several days, neighbors complained to the city that a group of people with guns had taken over the area around the burned down Wendy's. They say they couldn't get to their homes because people blocked the road, and they also told us there were loud noises late into the night. Earlier this week, when we started covering this story, several people asked us what the mayor's stance was on this, and we've reached out to her office several times and have not yet heard back. You can hear our interviews with people who live in that neighborhood and hear what Atlanta's interim police chief had to say about it in our story on 11alive.com. The former officer accused of killing Rayshard Brooks has a new court date and some legal support. Garrett Rolfe's bond hearing was set now for June 30th. That's this coming Tuesday. And today, the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund announced it is going to support him when it comes to legal fees. Our Caitlin Ross spoke with the group's president about their decision.
The Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund just announced they'll pay all the costs associated with defending former Atlanta police officer Garrett Rolfe in the murder case. They're a national nonprofit based out of Virginia where they research cases they believe officers have been wrongly charged. They've been involved in high-profile cases in Baltimore and New Jersey. The president of the nonprofit talked to 11 Alive today and said what happened to Mr. Brooks was a tragedy, but he does not believe it was murder. In reviewing the videotape from that night, he says he believes Rolfe acted appropriately and that the district attorney rushed to judgment when filing charges.
It's very, very important, no matter what anyone's perspective on policing or where policing is in this day and age, to understand that you really have to actually investigate what happened with all available evidence before you can make a decision about whether it's warranted to take that kind of disciplinary action or whether it's warranted to pursue criminal charges. When you cut out the investigative step, you're really setting the bar in a place where, unfortunately, I think down the road we're going to see a lot of acquittals. And there's going to be a lot of unhappy and disappointed people who thought that the fact that these officers were charged meant that they were actually guilty.
He says all of their funding comes from private donations, and they expect to spend up to $250,000 defending a murder charge. He hasn't been in touch with Rolfe directly, but he is working with Rolfe's legal team.
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Storm Trackers, talking to just under 200 people right now on Facebook Live. That's why you see my phone sticking up here in the shot. And a lot of folks are excited because the severe thunderstorm watch that included just a few counties on the south side and down into middle Georgia has been canceled. It was supposed to expire at 10 o'clock tonight, but the National Weather Service just canceled it early because that area of rain that was coming out of Alabama and into parts of central Georgia and areas on the south side is a lot weaker. So we really no longer have a threat for severe weather here in metro Atlanta, North Georgia, or even on the south side. We still have a pretty good coverage of rain, and a lot of the folks on Facebook Live right now are confirming what we're seeing on radar with just a few of these light showers that are around. These are moving in still from the southwest to the northeast, and if we take you into Atlanta, you can see just the light rain that we have around, but it's really a pretty good coverage of that rain. The folks on Facebook were saying that their garden is loving it. This is just a good soaking light rain that we have around. And then down to the south, this is where we were watching some of those heavier showers earlier that were coming out of Alabama. But you'll notice here as they move into Troup County near LaGrange and into Meriwether County, the oranges and reds started to disappear. That was indicating the heavier showers. Now, just a couple of moderate showers lingering in parts of Meriwether County, even Pike County, Lamar County, Upson County, just seeing a few light showers down there too. The heavier rain has been down to the south, but even that is weakening somewhat. This was a lot stronger back into Alabama, but now it's into Georgia. It is falling apart. Here's something else that I think you'll be excited to see as well. This is a live look at Truist Park, where, again, we have that good coverage of clouds around, but this is confirming that lighter rain that's tapering off too. Earlier, the Storm Prediction Center had us in a level 2 risk for severe storms. That's now been downgraded. Just general showers over much of North Georgia, with that marginal risk or level 1 risk mainly down into central Georgia, Macon toward the Augusta area. Stay with us. We'll let you know if any additional showers that develop tomorrow could turn strong. More on that coming up.
All right, Chris, thank you. Now's a good time to remind you to download the 11 Alive app. You'll get those severe weather alerts straight to your phone if we have any. Today, a reminder from Governor Brian Kemp that COVID-19 is still a threat here in Georgia. While restaurants and bars have reopened, some with social distancing measures, the governor posted a video today asking people to wear masks and to practice social distancing.
While I'm proud of our swift response and measured steps forward, we cannot grow complacent. This virus is deadly and remains a threat to our great state. Let's stay vigilant in the fight to stop the spread of COVID-19.
In Troup County, a large number of the people testing positive for COVID-19 are inmates at the jail, more than 70 to be exact. And now they're bringing in an expert from Emory to help. Our Christy Diaz has the details.
The Department of Public Health reports 186 new infections in Troup County just in the last week, a large number of positives coming from inmates at the county jail. The sheriff reports out of 316 inmates who were tested, 71 tested positive, and out of 48 tested staff members, 2 tested positive. Now they're working with the sheriff's office to get all the positive inmates quarantined and separated from general population. But the sheriff says that's more complicated than it sounds.
There's 2 things we've got to do. We've got to get them away from the general population, but we also have to be mindful of their charges. You know, we can't put people that are dangerous in there with a young kid that's in there for driving on suspended license.
They plan to use the annex just up the hill and a separate part of the jail to quarantine the inmates. And tomorrow, Dr. Ann Spalding, a professor from Emory who specializes in correctional facilities, will do a walkthrough and give recommendations on how best to handle the outbreak. In the meantime, the sheriff says they're providing inmates with masks, even though they can't force them to wear it.
The jail in Troup County is a reminder that COVID-19 can impact residents anywhere. According to the Department of Public Health, the county has had a total of 1,027 positive cases since the outbreak began. More than half of those cases within the last 2 weeks. Now, we know 98 of those total cases came from inmates and staff at the Troup County Jail. Another 92 came from long-term care facilities like nursing homes. Now, as for the state overall, we have seen another jump in the numbers today as the Department of Public Health announces 1,703 new positive COVID-19 cases. That brings our total number of positive cases closer to 70,000. We keep track of the numbers and the trends surrounding Georgia's COVID-19 cases each and every day to help you stay informed. You can always find our latest research and information in our special coronavirus section on 11alive.com. And don't forget, we are streaming right now on the 11 Alive YouTube channel. You can subscribe and join the conversation in the community section. There's more 11 Alive news in prime time after this break.
Medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message.
A bill racing through the legislature would make it illegal to send out absentee ballot applications unless the voter asks. Critics say the measure would create longer lines at the polls this fall. 11 Alive's Doug Richards looks at what's happening and why.
Georgia's primary earlier this month set a voting record with more than half of the ballots cast by absentee. But Republicans blame absentee ballots on some of the snags, including long lines that embroiled in-person voting June 9th. Voters sent in record numbers of absentee ballots in large part because of a state program to send absentee ballot applications to every voter in Georgia. That would be illegal under a bill that has passed a House committee. Republican State Representative Shaw Blackman says absentee ballots were part of the problem during the June primary.
This is about whether or not Georgia gets it right on Election Day. And I think the flooding of those extra ballots, whether it be in person or by mail, created some problems that were hard to overcome.
Blackman led an effort to make it illegal for the state or counties to send out absentee ballot applications unsolicited.
They are not prioritizing the safety of voters and not prioritizing voters' access to the ballots.
Democrats say it's a move that reeks of politics following a primary election in Georgia where more voters pulled Democratic ballots than Republican.
We've seen the numbers. We've seen that Democrats outvoted Republicans, and we know that vote by mail and making it easy to vote by mail is certainly going to support that trend moving forward.
Voters will still be able to request absentee ballots, and the bill requires the state to create an online portal to streamline those requests. In Fulton County, a logjam of requests forced many would-be absentee voters into long lines at precincts June 9th. The bill would allow political parties and other private organizations to send out absentee ballot applications, just not state and local government.
Our 11 Alive political team will continue bringing you context and analysis throughout this election year, looking at the national, state, and local issues that impact your life most. Well, more people are now able to access COVID-19 testing after the state made a push to make testing available to anyone who wanted to get one. But still, not everyone feels comfortable with the process. Here's Owen Lopez.
They feel like they won't be able to have access to something really crucial.
Maritza Morelli, executive director for Sandy Springs nonprofit Los Niños Primero, works with hundreds of Latino and Hispanic families. Minorities, according to the CDC, are overall disproportionately affected by COVID-19, which is why Morelli says testing is so important. This week, her nonprofit, along with others, will be offering free COVID-19 testing in Sandy Springs, something that has also been done on Buford Highway and in Hall County last month. Morelli believes that this will help some immigrants get tested for the virus who were previously running into some roadblocks.
One of the things that they have been facing is to have a proper ID, and many of them, they don't.
Another issue, she says, for some is affordability. This month, the Pew Research Center reported that during the pandemic, immigrants across the nation saw a higher unemployment rate than U.S.-born workers.
They have to decide where I'm going to put my money on, in food or in testing.
Morelli says when it comes to testing, language can also be a barrier for immigrants, which is why the testing site will have bilingual volunteers. If you or someone you know wants to get tested for free at that Sandy Springs site, you will not have to bring your ID. You also will not have to bring a social security card, and you don't have to make an appointment ahead of time. We've listed all the information for you regarding that specific testing site on 11alive.com in both English and in Spanish.
We are still tracking some of those showers out there tonight. Good coverage of mainly light rain around. Talking to folks on Facebook Live right now, Damon Kilgore is reporting light rain in Bartow County, and that's what most people have been reporting, light rain. There are some spots up in northeast Georgia that aren't getting any rain at all, but elsewhere it's mainly light stuff. The heavier rain is down to the south, and even that is falling apart. And as we mentioned earlier, the National Weather Service has canceled the severe thunderstorm watch that was in effect for areas on the south side. It was supposed to be in effect until 10, but they canceled it about maybe 30-40 minutes ago, so it's no longer in effect. Here's the light rain around metro Atlanta. We were watching some of those heavier showers that were coming in from Alabama a little bit earlier, but they really have been weakening. They still had some heavy rain in parts of LaGrange. It started weakening in Meriwether County, up in Coweta County, and now Pike and Lamar County just have some light rain. Upson County near Thomaston, you have some light rain too. It was heavier coming out of Alabama. You can see that it was coming into Georgia, and as that moved in, it weakened. There's another little bit developing over, just to the west of Columbus, not too far off from Auburn, where you see some of those heavier showers there, and thunder down to the south, just north of the Dothan area. But again, that's going to stay away, and that watch has been canceled. Take a look out there. Take a look at this on the bigger picture. This is a picture that was sent in to us by one of our 11 Alive community storm trackers, David Binder, in Loganville. He said that the rain wasn't too bad, or the storms weren't too bad in Loganville. However, he could see the really dark skies there beyond the water tower, and that was in the northern parts of Walton County, near the Barrow County line, where they did have big-time storms and even some damage. We showed you a picture earlier of some of that damage over in the Walton County area near Bold Springs. Here's a live look. This is in Rome, and still just a couple light showers around. The roads are wet. You can see the reflection there of the lights on the roads, but it's not really stormy, anything like that, just mainly just a little bit of light rain still lingering. We mentioned earlier that the Storm Prediction Center the Weather Service not only canceled that severe thunderstorm watch on the south side, but now the Storm Prediction Center has taken the level 2 risk out for us. So everything's pretty much stabilized now. We're not worried about a severe weather threat. Now, just down to the south and east of us, in this green area, that's where there could still be an isolated shower that could turn a little bit stronger. And then tomorrow, we're not worried about a severe weather threat. We're in the light green color, which is just indicating general showers and a couple of thunder showers possible, but we don't expect anything severe. Temperatures right now in the 70s. Look at Carrollton, you just dropped down to 69 degrees. We do have some lower 70s around in Canton, also Gainesville, 60s up in Blairsville and in Clayton. Tomorrow, we're going to go with the 6 on the wazometer. Rain chances a little bit lower at 40%, and high temperatures around 82 degrees. So tonight, again, those showers much quieter now down on the south side. Early in the morning, maybe a lingering light shower or two. And then as we get to the noontime hour tomorrow, a couple of breaks in the clouds and a few showers on the west side. But in the afternoon tomorrow, you can see it's not a really big coverage of rain around. We're just talking about a 40% chance for showers. So that rain chance goes down even a little bit more on Friday to 30%, and then even more for the weekend at 20% chances for showers, with highs that will be in the upper 80s. And remember, we'll have those hazy sky conditions due to the Saharan dust that's going to be moving in. Then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a mix of sun and clouds. Really kind of typical summertime weather. High temperatures around 88 Monday, 87 Tuesday, 86 on Wednesday, with that chance for just some afternoon pop-up showers.
All right, Chris, thank you. For 3 months now, live music venues have been closed down because of COVID-19 restrictions and concerns, but has left live entertainers with no place to play. Tracy I. McPeer shows us how one band took their act on the road, literally.
Like when people are like, oh, this is live music. I mean, it's been so long.
That's the reaction Josh Irwin lives for as his band Mermaid Motor Lounge rolls down the road. When COVID-19 hit and live music venues shut down, the band borrowed a boat and a generator and hit the streets. They played everywhere from Ormwood Park and East Atlanta to Decatur to Brookhaven to Buckhead.
Thanks, y'all. We are the Mermaid Motor Lounge.
Keeping their distance, getting tips through Venmo, and posting signs to remind people not to congregate.
One of the signs said, you stay, we play for you. And then one sign said, social distancing show. And one said, practice safe 6.
Finding a way to play music and entertain, even during a pandemic.
It's like, oh my God, there's a band on a boat here. Well, look at this. And it just enough to distract people from what is actually going on.
And once venues do open back up, Mermaid Motor Lounge says that they will still play this way because there's no way to know how long it'll take for crowds to want to watch music inside.
And this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Baseball is coming back next month, a 60-game sprint to the postseason, and we are seeing athletes test positive all over the place for COVID-19. Many sports are full speed ahead. Great sense of optimism that it will be business as usual. Joining me right now, syndicated columnist and humorist Ron Hart. Ron, I want to have a sense of optimism about baseball and football coming back, but then I take a look at what happened at Clemson. I take a look at what happened at LSU. There's no way this is going to come off as easily as these professional leagues are projecting.
Right, and we're in this new woke world we're in right now. UGA's problem is that half their players are going to have to apologize because University of Georgia, half of them played in the blue-gray game for the South, so they're going to have to make amends for that at some point, I think, this season.
All right, we move on to politics now. President Trump and Joe Biden have scheduled 3 debates. The president wanted more, but the former vice president wants only 3, and he will stick with that. Do debates still matter in presidential politics, in your estimation?
Yes, they do, especially in this case when there's some doubt about Biden's capabilities at this stage of the game. The CNN's already declared him the winner of the first 2 debates. I don't know if you saw that, but you remember how rancorous the other debates between Hillary and Trump were, and there was accusations that Trump was on cocaine at the time. I think, remember, 4 years ago. So there's no way Trump is on cocaine. It's impossible. That would block his reflection in the mirror, and he would never do that. So that was a bad rumor back in the day. But I wish they would just get back to normal issues, like, away from the world we're in right now, like global warming and basic things like that, because studies show global warming is the #1 cause of documentaries in America, Jeff. Found that out the other day.
I wish we had a drummer here to do the rim shots, because I feel like I'm playing the role of straight man here and not
trying to put some levity in the news.
Not doing a very good job of it. You and I are old enough, and I think you're old enough to have some remembrance of 1968. I remember as a boy and you're younger than I am, but it was a very, very frightening time as a kid, and my parents had no ability to explain it to me. I think there are a lot of children that are greatly, for lack of a better term, freaked out by what's going on, about the violence they see on television and what's going on.
68, there was you had Dr. King, nonviolent, doing a great job of making his point to people by his actions. Today, the rioting and looting really detracts from the real message that they're trying to get across. And look, I'm a libertarian. I'm for defunding everything. I wish we'd defund all of government and just, fund back what we want and what we miss down the road. So I kind of am on the same side as BLM on a lot of different issues. The police force maybe has gotten too big. Maybe the police force has gotten their message and their mission has gotten a little bit strayed. It needs to be more social services. Certainly see that in the world we're in today.
Ron Hart, thank you. We appreciate it as always. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered.
We still have some light showers that we're watching out there again tonight, and no storms with this. Our air is a lot more stable now, it's a lot cooler from the showers we had earlier, so we no longer have a storm threat. In fact, the severe thunderstorm watch that was in effect for areas on the south side has been canceled early. It was supposed to expire at 10, but they canceled it earlier. And you can see it's still a good coverage of rain that we have around. Many of you are probably getting that. We just don't have as much rain to the north and east of us and in northwest Georgia, but around metro Atlanta, pretty much all of us at least getting some sprinkles out there. And you can see it here in Atlanta as the rain's moving through. And then we were watching some of the storms that were coming in from Alabama a little bit earlier that had more moderate rain with it. But as those moved in from Alabama into Georgia, they weakened somewhat, and that's why they canceled that watch that was in effect here on the south side. Now we have some additional showers right here that are redeveloping coming out of Alabama close to the West Georgia line. That's over from Columbus and southward. Some of those have a little bit of lightning, but we don't really think those are going to turn severe either. Take a look at what we've been watching out there right now. When you this picture from earlier, this is from Walton County. Joanna Dykes took this in Bold Springs as the storms moved through there with really gusty winds, caused some damage in that neighborhood at the Providence Club, as well as around the Campton area. Along Highway 11, we had some reports of damage there earlier in parts of Walton County. Right now, we're not seeing as much rain around. Still a few light showers in Rome with some wet streets in the Rome area now. And the good news for the rest of the nighttime hours, North Georgia, no concerns about severe weather. Earlier, we were in the level 2 risk for stronger storms, but now that everything's weaker, we're not expecting that here. Maybe just a really low chance for a couple of isolated stronger storms down into parts of central Georgia tonight. Stay with us. We're talking about some showers still tomorrow. The rain chances, though, a little bit lower. We'll talk about that timing and whether or not any of those showers could turn strong.
Chris, thank you. Georgia's hate crime bill is moving on to the governor's desk. It creates harsher penalties for crimes motivated by race, sexual orientation, or religion. A similar bill failed in the state Senate last year, but there was new urgency for the hate crime bill after the video was released of the death of Ahmaud Arbery in Glenn County. He was shot to death while jogging in February. One of the men accused of killing him told police he thought Arbery was behind recent break-ins. His family says he was profiled because he's black. Ahmaud Arbery's mother says the hate crime bill is an important step, but just one of many. She spoke with our Hope Ford about the bill and what's next.
I'm happy, but at the same time, I have to snap it back into reality that Ahmaud is gone. But, you know, his name will live forever, I think.
Ahmaud Arbery's mom, Wanda Cooper, exhausted but happy over the passage of a hate crime bill on Tuesday. She hopes the move will prevent other mothers from experiencing the same pain of losing a child in a potentially racially motivated crime. Her lawyer, Lee Merritt, points to the bill as one of several long-term takeaways created out of the current Black Lives Matter movement.
This new law is in place, and it will be in place next week, or next month or next year when this issue is no longer trending.
The bill went back and forth in the legislature for a week, first adding police as a protected class under the law, then removing them and placing police protections under a separate bill that passed, a move that Georgia NAACP President Reverend James Woodall says proves there's more work to be done.
When we already have laws on the books that increase the penalty for crimes committed against that particular profession, and to only add to that in this moment signals to us that Black lives really just do not matter.
The vice president of the Anti-Defamation League calls the statute a defining moment in Georgia history with a clear message.
We are going to value you as an individual, and we're going to protect you.
But everyone agreed the bill is just the beginning, one piece of a much larger puzzle.
We must continue to stand together. We must continue to support and make sure that we get change. We just can't stop.
The coronavirus pandemic is unlike anything this country has seen in the last 50 years. Pandemics of this magnitude are rare, but they do happen. But why? Here's our Why guy, Jerry Carnes.
Our history books are filled with masked repetition. Pictures of mass travelers quarantined on a cruise ship are nothing new. Long before COVID-19, there was the Spanish flu that spread to 1/3 of the world's population, killing 50 million.
Really horrifying accounts of patients. As soon as they got into the hospital, they died.
Pandemics of that magnitude are rare, but over the past 100 years, there have been 2 others that have taken more than 1 million lives worldwide. Let's look at why they happen. Viruses mutate. Most of the time, the changes don't mean much to us.
Mutations in viruses occur all the time, and it is a little bit of a luck of the draw where that change happens.
Sometimes bad luck is involved. The genetic makeup of a virus determines how well it spreads or if it can cause severe illness. The Ebola virus is often deadly but doesn't transmit that easily. Others spread but with mild illness. And then there are those rare times.
You have the combination of transmits quickly. The second, it could be a disease that could be quite severe. There you have a recipe. That is what we have with COVID-19.
According to the CDC, a flu virus can shift in a way that allows animals to infect humans who would have little or no immunity. Pandemics don't necessarily come decades apart. In 1957, the Asian flu killed 1.1 million people worldwide. It was followed in 1968 by the Hong Kong flu that took almost as many lives and had some of the same genetic makeup as the virus that swept the world 11 years before.
Well, if you have a question for Jerry Carnes, our Why Guy, you can send it to us through the methods there on your screen, Facebook, Twitter, or by email. We'll be right back.
Some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
A vote in the Georgia legislature has cleared the way for voters to decide whether to dissolve the police department in Glenn County. It's the same county police agency that responded to the Ahmaud Arbery case but didn't make an arrest. Our Faith Abube walks us through the newest developments.
On the passage of Senate Bill 509.
2 victories in 2 days.
He is therefore passed.
For state lawmakers looking to abolish the Glenn County Police Department.
Ayes are 159. The nays are 3.
And a third, Senate Bill 38 passed Friday. Clears the way for those who live in the county to have a voice on the matter. It'll come in the form of a vote in November.
It allows the voters of Glenn County to vote to transfer the police power from the Glenn County Police Department to the office of the Sheriff of Glenn County.
Senator William Legan co-sponsored the bills after a grand jury recommendation in September 2019. We told you back in May that the grand jury said the Glenn County Police Department had, quote, an ongoing culture of cover-up, and that voters should decide in 2020 whether the department should be merged with the sheriff's office instead.
And we decided to go the route of a non-binding referendum to perhaps give the county some time to make adjustments.
But then the Ahmaud Arbery shooting happened in February.
There was some questions as to why the police department did not refer that case to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation because of connections which the accused had to law enforcement departments in Glynn County. And of course, there were also no arrests. And so the decision was made then to let's go ahead and go back to our original plan.
Shall this bill
The change meant a new bill that gave voters more than just a symbolic vote on the matter. If approved by voters in November, the Glynn County Police Department will be no more on May 2nd, 2021.
This is not in accordance with any effort to defund police. The people of Glynn County want law enforcement. I want good law enforcement. We just want to bring order and peace and to settle some of the issues that have plagued our community throughout the years.
Faith Abube reporting there. Now, even though the bills passed the legislature almost unanimously, there has been some opposition, including a Glynn County commissioner who sent a letter to the House Black Caucus asking for them to vote against it. The bills now head to the governor's desk for his signature. Well, sweeping police reforms are getting more popular among Americans, according to a recent survey by Reuters and the research firm Ipsos. Now, there are questions as to what that would look like, though. But as Sarah Doloff reports, several cities are finding success sending social workers to certain types of emergency calls.
Amidst calls for police reform across the country, a new program launched in Denver. The Support Team Assisted Response, known as STAR, dispatches a mental health clinician and paramedic to behavioral health 911 calls instead of armed law enforcement.
This is preventative medicine for police violence.
Denver Justice Project co-chair Roshan Bliss helped develop STAR, modeling it after the Cahoots program in Eugene, Oregon, that's been around for more than 30 years, and last year responded to 17% of the city's 911 calls. Bliss believes STAR can do the same, de-escalating situations without force and connecting vulnerable citizens with critical resources.
It's a more effective response because we're sending the right people to deal with the right problems.
In Dallas, the Right Care program, a partnership between Parkland Hospital and City Fire and Police, has responded to 6,600 mental health calls since 2018, leading to a drop in arrests in the areas it serves.
We've diverted 30% of people away from jails and away from busy ERs. We've connected over a fifth of those clients to mental health services. Our incarceration rate is less than 4%.
It's now expanding and could potentially serve as a blueprint outside Dallas.
I think it is scalable, and I think that it could be used in other cities.
Programs that work to provide a more effective crisis response, drawing the attention of those calling for change.
Light rain in the area right now. Pretty good coverage of that. No storms, no thunder and lightning, thank goodness, and no threat for severe weather for the rest of the nighttime hours here in the metro Atlanta area. Just general light showers covering our area tonight. Now, we did have some heavier showers a little bit earlier, and some of those caused some damage in Walton County. We shared a picture a little bit earlier of that over near the Bold Springs area, and that's right where we're seeing this right here, where we had reports of damage around Overlook Lane. We showed you the damage earlier in the Providence Club. Also, we had numerous reports of damage here along Highway 11 around Campton, where it even stopped traffic for a while with some trees down there. And this was mainly from some strong thunderstorm winds that came through a little bit earlier today, and that is all now moved out. Things are a lot calmer. We've got more stable air over metro Atlanta right now, and even some of those storms coming out of Alabama are a lot weaker now. We do have some that are around LaGrange and to the west of LaGrange there at West Point Lake, moving on down toward Columbus, that have another little surge of moderate rain with them, and it had some thunder and lightning with it earlier, but that's now all falling apart too. And so as you can see, the severe thunderstorm watch that was in effect for parts of Meriwether, Pike, Lamar, Upson County, and parts of a big part of middle Georgia, that has now been canceled, no longer in effect here for those areas. So let me show you what we're watching. This is a live look. Does this get you excited? The lights are on right now at Truist Park. Just ignore the spider that is kind of hanging out on our lens right there. Every once in a while it crawls around. It might freak you out a little bit if you see it doing that, trying to build a web right there over our lens. But I wanted to show you this because the lights are on. I know that'll get a lot of people excited. It is wet though down at Truist Park, and still some light rain falling in that area too. Our temperature today made it up to 83. Now we should be around 88 for this time of year, so our high today of 83 was actually 5 degrees below the average. Our low this morning was 69. That was 1 degree below the average. We only picked up 0.03 of an inch of rain today. I know some of you got a lot more, but only 0.03 of an inch here, and we have a surplus now just under 14 inches below where we should be, actually above where we should be in rainfall for the year. So when did that 83-degree temperature occur? That was pretty much in the 1 o'clock hour, and then we saw more clouds around and some of those showers were developing, and that's where we saw those temperatures beginning to fall down into the 70s, and we're in the 70s now, and we're going to be in the 70s for the rest of the nighttime hours and overnight too. So we've been tracking showers and storms. Tomorrow we still have the chance for a few showers around, but the storm risk tomorrow is going to be lower, as well as our storm chances tomorrow going to be lower. Now it's not totally going away, but just not as many of those showers around. And then for the weekend, we're going to be watching some of that Saharan dust moving in, and maybe even some of that dust in here tomorrow and Friday as well. But it's really going to give us some hazy skies as we head into the weekend. So watch this tonight. Rain chances going away. In the morning, there might be a couple of lingering showers around, and then temperatures pretty much in the upper 60s and lower 70s. We'll get up to 82 in the afternoon with scattered showers, a couple thunder showers possible, but not really widespread. We're just going to go with the 6 on the wasometer, and then you can see tonight rain moving out. In the morning, a couple lingering showers. At lunchtime, I think we'll see some breaks here, maybe even some sunshine. And then in the afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds, and really not a big coverage of rain around at all, just a few of those scattered showers. So here's the 7-day outlook, and here's what we're going to be watching. Highs near 82 degrees tomorrow, and then 86 degrees on Friday with a 30% chance for some showers around. And then hazy conditions for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, only a 20% chance for scattered showers with high temperatures both days, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. And remember that haze is going to be a lot because of that Saharan dust that's going to be in the atmosphere. And then back to a 30% chance for showers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with high temperatures in mid to the upper 80s.
A summer camper in Forsyth County has tested positive for COVID-19. They were at the Shawnee Mountain Preserve. They didn't have any symptoms, but were tested as a prerequisite for a camp that they were planning to go to next week. All campers and staff have been notified, and it brings up an important conversation for parents as camps are back open and COVID-19 numbers are increasing in some parts of our state. I talked to pediatrician Dr. Kiana Washington about that, and also the importance of getting children in for their regular checkups this summer.
There are camps that will be happening in July, and many of those camps are requiring the children to have a COVID test before they come to camp. Now, most pediatrician offices do not offer that test in the office. However, it is important to talk with your pediatrician about how to go about getting that test, what's going to be the best place to go, and what does the test result mean. And what I talk to my families about is, okay, we've got the test and it's negative. Now, how do we make sure it stays negative from now until the time your child goes to camp? Because that would be a disaster, right? To have a negative test and then in the next 7 days acquire COVID and then go to camp. So we want to make sure that we keep it negative until you actually go to your camp.
COVID-19 is sort of an ongoing reality and will be for quite some time. So it's finding the ways to continue the important medical care that needs to happen on an ongoing basis.
And for our healthcare system, the last thing we need is an outbreak of a vaccine preventable illness like whooping cough or measles in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic. We really need to control what we can, and we can control those other illnesses that can be very well prevented by vaccines.
What are the most common concerns and questions you're hearing from moms and dads right now?
How do I make my child wear a mask? He or she does not want to wear a mask. And I would say, I think we need to have more faith in our children than sometimes we do. Again, I'm a pediatrician. I have a 2.5-year-old, and I had not tried a mask with her because I just assumed she would not wear it. However, she saw me wearing it, going in and out every day, going to work. And so when it was time for her to go to her checkup, I was like, oh goodness, okay, now you have to put on your mask. And she said, okay. And she put it on and she kept it on the entire time. No problem at all.
My 4-year-old thinks it's just like an extension of his dress-up game. My mom sewed him a Lightning McQueen mask, so he's like, "Oh, this is the coolest thing ever," you know?
Yeah, this dress up, we're superheroes. My 6-year-old says, we're coronavirus superheroes. So it's, you know, whatever it takes to help them to be safe. Also just teaching them about hand washing and hand sanitizing and how it's important to do that frequently.
All right. Thanks a lot to Dr. Washington for the good advice. She's really encouraging parents to schedule those appointments, saying that the offices have a lot of safety procedures in place, so you can feel safe going to do that. We have a lot more for you with her on 11alive.com.
We're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but
Giving back comes in many forms, and tonight we have two examples of people using their skills to show appreciation for others. In Cobb County, the U.S. Army Black Daggers parachute team gave a demonstration to salute healthcare workers. They jumped over Wellstar Kennestone Hospital, trailing that red smoke through the air. One volunteer says it shows we're all under the same umbrella of circumstances, navigating a world with coronavirus. And in Gwinnett County, a local Marine and his family receiving a big home remodel courtesy of Lifetime's military makeover. Marcelino Marquez served in the Marine Corps Reserve for 27 years, and now as a thank you for his service, a whole team of contractors, designers, landscapers, and volunteers have taken over. The Marquez family's big reveal will air later this summer.
We're watching some light rain in the area right now, and tomorrow we're still going to have a few scattered showers that'll develop. We won't see as many showers tomorrow as we saw today. Rain chances is at about 40%, and then even lower Friday at 30%. Temperatures tomorrow near 82. We're back to 86 Friday, and then near 90 on Saturday and Sunday. Dealing with the haze thanks to that Saharan dust that's going to be moving in. Only a 20% chance for a shower. Then we go back to a 30% chance on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, with high temperatures in the mid and into those upper 80s as well.
All right, well, we will see you on Up Late at 11 on our sister station, 11 Alive. But remember, there's more news and weather coming up right here next on the ATL. Thanks for being with us.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around.
11 Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
On this Wednesday night, new video at 10, the woman accused of setting fire to the Wendy's on University Avenue, a free woman. We were there when Natalie White bonded out of Fulton County Jail earlier this evening. You can see she wore a face mask when she was released. Her attorney says White's mother was the woman in the car waiting to pick her up. This afternoon, White appeared in front of a judge via video conferencing. The judge set a $10,000 bond and ordered her to stay off social media. She must wear an ankle monitor and will be under house arrest. Rayshard Brooks, the man shot and killed by Atlanta police outside the Wendy's, mentioned to Natalie White was his girlfriend on body cam video. White's attorney, Drew Findling, says the two were good friends. He didn't want to go into further detail. Mr. Findling says there are several videos showing the fire being set. He did not deny that White was at the Wendy's when the blaze began.
Video shows you not only Natalie, but the scores of other people that were involved. Even though they're uncharged, it just shows you that there were so many other people, and everybody's looking for somebody to blame because it makes a good story, and it's a distraction from the other things that are going on in our city. Natalie White's the distraction of the day.
White's attorney also said that he has been receiving calls from strangers offering to cover his client's bond and her legal fees. New tonight at 10, a high school graduate delivered a passionate speech around Black Lives Matter.
See, everyone gets a game piece, but what does yours say? Well, mine says, I'm a black man born in America with 2 strikes against me.
He later discovered some of his comments were missing from a video on the school district.
A sunny day at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Luella's high school class of 2020 finally graduating in person. Class president Jordan Jackson delivered a nearly 3-minute-long speech on social injustice.
I'm a black man born in America with 2 strikes against me.
It was powerful, and I was able to use my platform that I had to speak on what was going on.
After graduation, Jordan's dad noticed a 10-second clip was missing in the video on Henry County Schools' YouTube page.
Our lives matter. Yes, Black lives matter.
Here's video of the speech recorded by Jordan's family.
Life doesn't have the same duration for every player. Therefore, we must live life to the fullest, knowing that our lives matter. Yes, that means Black Lives Matter too.
Now here's video that was originally on the Henry County Schools YouTube page.
Life doesn't have the same duration for every player. Therefore,
Jordan posted a side-by-side on Twitter, and many people accused the school district of editing the speech. J.D. Harden with Henry County Schools says the district never had access to the video. Instead, a local third-party vendor live-streamed and recorded all graduations. Harden wouldn't name the third-party vendor, but says the vendor told him a weak internet connection caused a glitch.
There probably could not have been a worse time for the internet, to be unreliable and to cause that dropout.
The district apologized to Jordan, and the vendor quickly removed the live stream, replacing it with a recorded backup video
so that people could hear what he said, because it was so powerful.
Jordan and his family remain skeptical about what happened.
Black Lives Matter is one of the most important and controversial topics, and for that to be glitched out is ridiculous.
But the high school graduate says regardless, the experience taught him the importance of speaking up on issues that matter to him.
He later discovered some of the comments were missing, as we heard. So that is tonight Hope Ford reporting for us. All right, we move on now. The 3 men accused in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery have been indicted by a South Georgia grand jury on multiple charges of murder. Arbery was shot to death in February while running through a Brunswick neighborhood. Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, and William Bryan each now face 9 counts. 5 of those are murder counts. The grand jury met today in Glynn County, and the announcement of the indictment came hours later. Cobb County District Attorney Joyette Holmes is the lead prosecutor in this case. She gave the Arbery family the news.
The family was ecstatic to hear that it had happened this morning. Of course, with everything that's going on just around the country, with the judicial emergency that's in place, they had no idea when some of the next steps would happen after the last preliminary hearing. So to get that phone call that we were able to call in a grand jury and to do it safely, and that they returned a true bill, they were extremely happy about that.
There is still no word yet on any potential federal charges against the 3 men. The U.S. Justice Department now is looking into the case. Tonight, police have cleared unofficial barricades in southeast Atlanta near the Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks was killed. For days, neighbors say they were blocked from their homes and threatened with guns by young people. This morning, nearly a dozen APD vehicles closed off a section of University Avenue while the barricades were taken down. You can read more about the efforts to address safety issues in the area on 11alive.com. A bond hearing is set for next Tuesday for the fired Atlanta police officer accused of murdering Rayshard Brooks. Garrett Rolfe was originally supposed to be in court yesterday, but the judge postponed it, and it was scheduled to happen while Brooks' funeral was occurring. Rolfe is now facing 11 charges, including felony murder. The threat for severe weather has passed as storms weakened this evening. Our chief meteorologist, Chris Holcomb, has the very latest on what it looks like overnight.
Yeah, Jeff, we still have some of those light showers around, but we no longer have a threat for severe storms. In fact, the National Weather Service has now canceled the storm watch, severe thunderstorm watch that was in effect on the south side tonight and down into middle Georgia. Because those storms have been weakening, our air is just a lot more stable now. We still have a good coverage of light rain that is in the area now around metro Atlanta. As some of those storms rolled through a little bit earlier, we did have some damage over in Walton County, the northern part of the county near the Barrow County line, and where you see that little circle right there, that's indicating a damage marker where we had multiple trees down along Overlook Lane. This is in the Bold Springs area. Providence Club had some reports of some damage there. We also had reports of damage along Highway 11 near Campton, where some trees fell over the road and it caused some traffic issues there too. But everything is a lot calmer now as we see some light rain that is in the area. Down to the south, we're still watching some areas of rain coming in from Alabama, which have still been kind of causing some heavier showers here in parts of Troup County. Some of that will move into Meriwether County, but it will continue to weaken as it moves on over to the east as well. Now, take a look at what we're watching. We mentioned that damage a little bit earlier in parts of Walton County. This is pictures sent in from Joanna Dykes in the Bold Springs area of some of the trees that came down there from some of those strong thunderstorm winds. Stay with us. We'll let you know whether or not we'll see any additional showers developing tomorrow and if they can turn strong. More on that coming up.
The number of new COVID-19 cases in Georgia is not showing any signs of slowing down. Today, the Department of Public Health announced 1,703 new cases. While we have seen an increase in testing as well, not everybody with the virus is able to fight it at home. Hospitals reporting 190 new patients today. That number only includes people who test positive while receiving care. Right now, there are 1,124 people in the hospital for COVID-19. The state reports each day how many people are on ventilators, which has dropped after peaking over 900 yesterday. It is a gauge on the severity of the illness, but we want to point out the number reflects the total number of patients on ventilators for any reason, not just COVID-19. Because we know about a third of the patients historically have needed this kind of support, it makes sense that this number will follow the rise and fall in the cases. More people able to access COVID-19 testing. The state made a push to make testing available to anyone who wants to get one. Yet, still, not everybody feels comfortable with the process. Here's Elvin Lopez.
They feel like they won't be able to have access to something really crucial.
Maritza Morelli, executive director for Sandy Springs nonprofit Los Niños Primero, works with hundreds of Latino and Hispanic families. Minorities, according to the CDC, are overall disproportionately affected by COVID-19, which is why Morelli says testing is so important. This week, her nonprofit, along with others, will be offering free COVID-19 testing in Sandy Springs, something that has also been done on Buford Highway and in Hall County last month. Morelli believes that this will help some immigrants get tested for the virus who were previously running into some roadblocks.
One of the things that they have been facing is to have a proper ID, and many of them, they don't.
Another issue, she says, for some is affordability. This month, the Pew Research Center reported that during the pandemic, immigrants across the nation saw a higher unemployment rate than U.S.-born workers.
They have to decide where I'm going to put my money on, in food or in testing.
Morelli says when it comes to testing, language can also be a barrier for immigrants, which is why the testing site will have bilingual volunteers.
And in order to get tested for free at that Sandy Springs site, you will not need an ID or social security number, but you also won't need to make an appointment ahead of time. We'll have more information for you about this in English and in Spanish on 11alive.com. New tonight, 47 arrest warrants connected to a 9-month investigation known simply as Operation The Real McCoy. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says it revealed a network involving 3 different gangs all working together.
So whereas they say, I used to be red, I used to be blue, now we're all about the green. So we're actually seeing more organization between gang members in order to get their profits and do what they do.
Authorities were alerted last fall to a supply chain bringing meth into Cherokee County. That led them to drug trafficking rings operating within a handful of counties, including Fulton, Cobb, and DeKalb, involving members of the notorious gangs helping move drugs from Mexico to Georgia through Tennessee and West Virginia as well. A new battle brewing inside the state capitol over absentee ballots. What a new bill could mean for the way that you cast your vote coming up in the months ahead. Would you take a vacation during this pandemic if you were paid thousands of dollars? In the next half hour, the measure one lawmaker is proposing. Stay with us.
In their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body.
A bill racing through the state legislature would make it illegal to send out absentee ballot applications unless the voter asks. Critics say the measure would create longer lines at the polls this fall. Here's 11 Alive's Doug Richards as he looks at what's happening and why.
Georgia's primary earlier this month set a voting record with more than half of the ballots cast by absentee. But Republicans blame absentee ballots on some of the snags, including long lines that embroiled in-person voting June 9th. Voters sent in record numbers of absentee ballots in large part because of a state program to send absentee ballot applications to every voter in Georgia. That would be illegal under a bill that has passed a House committee. Republican State Representative Shaw Blackman says absentee ballots were part of the problem during the June primary.
This is about whether or not Georgia gets it right on Election Day. And I think the flooding of those extra ballots, whether it be in person or by mail, created some problems that were hard to overcome.
Blackman led an effort to make it illegal for the state or counties to send out absentee ballot applications unsolicited.
They are not prioritizing the safety of voters and not prioritizing voters' access to the ballots.
Democrats say it's a move that reeks of politics following a primary election in Georgia where more voters pulled Democratic ballots than Republican.
We've seen the numbers. We've seen that Democrats outvoted Republicans, and we know that vote by mail and making it easy to vote by mail is certainly going to support that trend moving forward.
Voters will still be able to request absentee ballots, and the bill requires the state to create an online portal to streamline those requests. In Fulton County, a logjam of requests forced many would-be absentee voters into long lines at precincts June 9th. The bill would allow political parties and other private organizations to send out absentee ballot applications, just not state and local government.
Our 11 Alive political team will continue bringing you context and analysis throughout the election year, looking at the national, state, and local issues that are impacting your life. We check back in with Chris Holcomb, our chief meteorologist, about the expectation for the remainder of the week.
We're going to see some rain out there tonight, Jeff. It's mainly light stuff, and it's showing signs of tapering off a little bit more, especially here on the south side. We're not seeing as much of that light rain around. We have some showers along I-20 and northward that are really light. And then also on the south side, down 85 as you get closer to LaGrange and also Columbus, we have a little more moderate activity. But you can see how this is kind of shrinking up a little bit, the green that you see, and some of those breaks there on the south side. And in fact, we're seeing some of those breaks inside the perimeter too, south of I-20. But let me take you down to LaGrange into Meriwether County, and this is where we have some of those more moderate showers, and then even more to the south down I-185, getting closer to Columbus. That's where we have some of those heavier bands. This had some thunder and lightning with it a little bit earlier, but it's a lot weaker now as it moves in. In fact, you know, we did have a severe thunderstorm watch that was supposed to be in effect until 10 o'clock. Well, it's 10:16 right now. It's not showing up here, but it's also because it was canceled earlier tonight between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. So no severe thunderstorm watches in effect for these areas, but we'll still watch the chance for a couple of isolated stronger storms that can develop mainly down on the south side. Take a look at what we're watching out there right now. This is a look earlier from a picture sent in to us by David Binder out of Loganville. Now, even though Loganville didn't get hit by severe weather or strong storms earlier with some damage, you can see the really dark skies to the north of the water tower, and in the northern parts of the county and Walton County, we did have some damage of trees down around the Bold Springs area and around Campton. Here's a live look in Athens, where the roads are still wet from some of those light showers that are still falling over on the east side. Nothing particularly heavy, but just a few of that, a little bit of that light rain around. Now, the severe weather threat earlier today, if you'll recall, it was upgraded to the level 2 risk. We had much of metro Atlanta and areas to the south of us in that yellow color. Well, now that things have stabilized, the Storm Prediction Center has lowered that down to a marginal risk down to the south of us and into middle Georgia and over to the east of us as well. And just as we're watching a few of those additional showers, it's possible a couple of those could turn strong. In metro Atlanta, no threat for severe weather here tonight. And then tomorrow, even though we have some rain chances tomorrow at about 40%, we're not concerned about that being severe either. We think that severe weather risk will be mainly over into the Carolinas. Temperature is pretty comfortable right now. We cooled down after getting into the low to mid 80s today for highs. We cooled down into the 70s when that rain came in. Even Carrollton right now is at 68. We have upper 60s in Blairsville and Clayton too. Lows in the morning will be around 69 here, and then we get up to 82 in the afternoon. We will have a few scattered showers around, a little bit of sunshine trying to break through. We're going to go with the 6 on the wazometer. Forecast track shows that rain chance mainly higher on the south side overnight. Then in the morning, we'll have some clouds around, maybe a couple of spotty showers. We'll have a break around lunchtime, even some sunshine breaking through north and east of the city. And then in the afternoon tomorrow, as you can see here, it's not a widespread coverage of rain, just a few of those scattered showers. And again, we're not thinking any of those will turn severe. And then getting into Friday, rain chances down to about 30%, so fewer showers here on Friday as well. And that rain chance goes down even more getting into Saturday and Sunday at 20% chances for showers. The sky's going to be pretty hazy, though, thanks to that Saharan dust that's going to be in the atmosphere. Temperatures warm up to near 80 degrees, and then we've got a 30% chance for showers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with high temperatures in the mid and even some upper 80s. Take a look at this weather wow moment. This was sent in to us by Brady Rogers in Stone Mountain at some of the crazy looking clouds that were developing today with those storms and the rain that was moving through. We'd love to see your weather wow moment, and we usually get those from our 11 Alive Community Storm Trackers. You can be a part of that group on Facebook. Just search 11 Alive Storm Trackers, ask to become a member, and we'll let you in.
Questions surrounding Mount Rushmore today as the calls for statue removal echo all across the country. There have been social media postings that the faces of Presidents Washington and Jefferson, Roosevelt, Lincoln should be removed. Republican South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem responded to the suggestion, tweeting, quote, "Not on my watch." Two of the presidents depicted on the monument, Washington and Jefferson, have owned slaves in their lifetime. Statues of the men have been torn down in other parts of the country. The world's largest marathon has been canceled due to coronavirus concerns. The New York City Marathon with 53,000 runners was pegged for November 1st, but race officials say the event cannot happen this year from a health and safety perspective. The 50th running of the New York City Marathon is now scheduled for November of 2021. A local band is still finding a way to perform while social distancing. Up next, how they are bringing some joy during the pandemic.
eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message.
For 3 months now, live music venues have been closed down due to COVID-19, leaving bands with no place to play. Tracy Emickpier shows us how the band took their act on the road literally.
Like when people are like, oh, this is live music. I mean, it's been so long.
That's the reaction Josh Irwin lives for as his band Mermaid Motor Lounge rolls down the road. When COVID-19 hit and live music venues shut down, the band borrowed a boat and a generator and hit the streets. They played everywhere from Ormwood Park and East Atlanta to Decatur to Brookhaven to Buckhead.
Thanks, y'all. We are the Mermaid Motor Lounge.
Keeping their distance, getting tips through Venmo, and posting signs to remind people not to congregate.
One of the signs said, you stay, we play for you. And then one sign said, social distancing show. And one said, practice safe 6.
Finding a way to play music and entertain, even during a pandemic.
It's like, oh my God, there's a band on a boat here. Well, look at this. And it just enough to distract people from what is actually going on.
And once venues do open back up, Mermaid Motor Lounge says that they will still play this way because there's no way to know how long it'll take for crowds to want to watch music inside.
Containing a COVID-19 outbreak at a county jail is proving to be complicated. More on Troup County's efforts coming up next.
Workers and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit.
A large number of the people testing positive for COVID-19 in Troup County are inside the jail there. More than 70 are now testing positive, and this is bringing in an effort. There's an effort from Emory to try and get some help for these inmates. Christy Diaz has more for us.
The Department of Public Health reports 186 new infections in Troup County just in the last week, a large number of positives coming from inmates at the county jail. The sheriff reports out of 316 inmates who were tested, 71 tested positive, and out of 48 tested staff members, 2 tested positive. Now they're working with the sheriff's office to get all the positive inmates quarantined and separated from general population. But the sheriff says that's more complicated than it sounds.
There's two things we've got to do. We've got to get them away from the general population, but we also have to be mindful of their charges. You know, we can't put people that are dangerous in there with a young kid that's in there for driving on suspended license.
They plan to use the annex just up the hill and a separate part of the jail to quarantine the inmates. And tomorrow, Dr. Ann Spalding, a professor from Emory who specializes in correctional facilities, will do a walkthrough and give recommendations on how best to handle the outbreak. In the meantime, the sheriff says they're providing inmates with masks, even though they can't force them to wear it.
Coronavirus cases continue spiking in parts of the country, and governors in several states are stepping up efforts to contain the virus. New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut have issued a travel advisory for out-of-state visitors from COVID hotspots, requiring them to quarantine for 14 days upon arrival. Right now it applies to 9 states, including Alabama, Florida, the Carolinas, and Texas. Meanwhile, today, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper issued an executive order requiring everybody to wear a face covering in public when social distancing is not possible. He is also extending the state's stay-at-home policy until July 17th. Cooper explained the decision in a series of tweets, saying the state needs to hit the pause button on reopening. Would federal money be enough incentive for you to travel during the pandemic? That is the plan from one lawmaker to boost the tourism industry, even as COVID-19 numbers go up in many states. The proposal comes from Republican Senator Martha McSally of Arizona, who's facing a tough election battle with the retired astronaut Mark Kelly. She dropped the bill Monday to help the tourism industry during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's called the American Tax Rebate and Incentive Program Act, also known as the American Trip Act. It would give a $4,000 travel tax credit for individuals and $8,000 for joint filers, with an additional $500 for dependent children. The program would last from January 1st through January 1st of 2022. The legislation does come with some guidelines. You would have to travel more than 50 miles away from your main residence, and the credit would cover things like travel, lodging, transportation, food and beverage, and entertainment expenses, including sporting events. Senator McSally says the tourism and hospitality industries are among the hardest hit by COVID-19 and the pandemic, and their revival is critical to the economic engine of recovery. But some say the bill leaves out those who can't afford to travel and comes at a time when the nation is still dealing with COVID-19 and travel may not be the safest thing to do. It's not the first time that we have heard about something like this recently. You might remember the president pitched a similar idea in May that would have given $4,000 to American households in a different stimulus package. As European countries prepare to reopen their borders, the European Union plans on blocking visitors from countries with severe coronavirus outbreaks. That would include the United States. Here's NBC's Keir Simmons.
Representatives of European countries are discussing which citizens from around the world to allow into the European Union for non-essential travel, things like vacations and business. Right now, 2 European Union diplomats tell NBC News that America is not included in that list of citizens who would be acceptable to travel to the European Union for non-essential business after July the 1st. Now, the calculation is being made based on infection rates, and of course the infection rate in the US is higher than in Europe. It's important to point out too that no decision has been made at this point, and that even if a decision is made, individual European countries will have the right to not follow that guidance. But just to give you an example of how difficult, how tricky a decision this is, infection rates in China are lower than in Europe, so potentially Europe may decide to allow Chinese citizens for non-essential travel, but not Americans. We've talked many times about how the coronavirus can cause diplomatic tensions around the world. This is a good example.
Keir Simmons from NBC reporting. The coronavirus pandemic is unlike anything seen in the country in 50 years. If you're old enough, you remember the Hong Kong flu around 1968, which was one that certainly frightened a lot of people and impacted a lot of lives as well. But this one is different. Pandemics of this magnitude are rare, but they do occur. Here's our Y guy, Jerry Carnes.
Our history books are filled with masked repetition. Pictures of masked travelers quarantined on a cruise ship are nothing new. Long before COVID-19, there was the Spanish flu that spread to 1/3 of the world's population, killing 50 million.
Really horrifying accounts of patients. As soon as they got into the hospital, they died.
Pandemics of that magnitude are rare, but over the past 100 years, there have been 2 others that have taken more than 1 million lives worldwide. Let's look at why they happen. Viruses mutate. Most of the time, the changes don't mean much to us.
Mutations in viruses occur all the time, and it is a little bit of a luck of the draw where that change happens.
Sometimes bad luck is involved. The genetic makeup of a virus determines how well it spreads or if it can cause severe illness. The Ebola virus is often deadly but doesn't transmit that easily. Others spread but with mild illness. And then there are those rare times.
You have the combination that transmits quickly. The second, it could be a disease that could be quite severe. There you have a recipe. That is what we have with COVID-19.
According to the CDC, a flu virus can shift in a way that allows animals to infect humans who would have little or no immunity. Pandemics don't necessarily come decades apart. In 1957, the Asian flu killed 1.1 million people worldwide. It was followed in 1968 by the Hong Kong flu that took almost as many lives and had some of the same genetic makeup as the virus that swept the world 11 years before.
Sweeping police reforms are now more popular among Americans. That is according to a recent survey by Reuters and a research firm known as Ipsos. There are questions as to what that will look like. Here is Sarah Dolph from NBC reporting that several cities are finding success sending social workers to certain types of emergency calls.
Amidst calls for police reform across the country, a new program launched in Denver. The Support Team Assisted Response, known as STAR, dispatches a mental health clinician and paramedic to behavioral health 911 calls instead of armed law enforcement.
This is preventative medicine for police violence.
Denver Justice Project co-chair Roshan Bliss helped develop STAR, modeling it after the Cahoots program in Eugene, Oregon, that's been around for more than 30 years, and last year responded to 17% of the city's 911 calls. Bliss believes STAR can do the same, de-escalating situations without force and connecting vulnerable citizens with critical resources.
It's a more effective response because we're sending the right people to deal with the right problems.
In Dallas, the Right Care program, a partnership between Parkland Hospital and City Fire and Police, has responded to 6,600 mental health calls since 2018, leading to a drop in arrests in the areas it serves.
We've diverted 30% of people away from jails and away from busy ERs. We've connected over a fifth of those clients to mental health services. Our incarceration rate is less than 4%.
It's now expanding and could potentially serve as a blueprint outside Dallas.
I think it is scalable, and I think that it could be used in other cities.
Programs that work to provide a more effective crisis response, drawing the attention of those calling for change.
Baseball is coming back next month, a 60-game sprint to the postseason. And we are seeing athletes test positive all over the place for COVID-19. Many sports are full speed ahead. Great sense of optimism that it will be business as usual. Joining me right now, syndicated columnist and humorist Ron Hart. Ron, I want to have a sense of optimism about baseball and football coming back, but then I take a look at what happened at Clemson. I take a look at what happened at LSU. There's no way this is going to come off as easily as these professional leagues are projecting.
Right, and we're in this new woke world we're in right now. UGA's problem is that half their players are going to have to apologize because University of Georgia, half of them played in the blue-gray game for the South, so they're going to have to make amends for that at some point, I think, this season.
All right, we move on to politics now. President Trump and Joe Biden have scheduled 3 debates. The president wanted more, but the former vice president wants only 3, and he will stick with that. Do debates still matter in presidential politics in your estimation?
Yes, they do, especially in this case when there's some doubt about Biden's capabilities at this stage of the game. The CNN's already declared him the winner of the first 2 debates. I don't know if you saw that, but you remember how rancorous the other debates between Hillary and Trump were, and there was accusations that Trump was on cocaine at the time. I think, remember, 4 years ago. So there's no way Trump is on cocaine. It's impossible. That would block his reflection in the mirror, and he would never do that. So that was a bad rumor back in the day. But I wish they would just get back to normal issues, like, away from the world we're in right now, like global warming and basic things like that, because studies show global warming is the #1 cause of documentaries in America, Jeff. Found that out the other day.
I wish we had a drummer here to do the rim shots, because I feel like I'm playing the role of straight man here and not
trying to put some levity in the news.
Not doing a very good job of it. You and I are old enough, I think you're old enough to have some remembrance of 1968. I remember as a boy, and you're younger than I am, but it was a very, very frightening time as a kid, and my parents had no ability to explain it to me. I think there are a lot of children that are greatly, for lack of a better term, freaked out by what's going on, about the violence they see on television and what's going on.
68, there was you had Dr. King, nonviolent, doing a great job of making his point to people by his actions. Today, the rioting and looting really detracts from the real message that they're trying to get across. And look, I'm a libertarian. I'm for defunding everything. I wish we'd defund all of government and just fund back what we want and what we miss down the road. So I kind of am on the same side as BLM on a lot of different issues. The police force maybe has gotten too big. maybe the police force has gotten their message and their mission has gotten a little bit strayed. It needs to be more social services. Certainly see that in the world we're in today.
Ron Hart, thank you. We appreciate it as always. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We're watching those showers that are light on the north side, but there's still a little band of heavy rain on the south side. We'll let you know where that's headed and if we'll see additional showers developing tomorrow.
Fans were allowed at NASCAR's Monday night race. What does it mean for other sports? We will talk the NFL plans coming up next.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate.
Joe Biden expected to name his VP by August 1st. Hear a lot of names bantered around Georgia. Of course, you hear from the Atlanta mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, and certainly Fair Fight founder Stacey Abrams. Ms. Abrams not saying anything publicly about whether the Biden campaign has reached out to her or not. She talked about it today on MSNBC.
I'm going to leave the conversation about vetting to the Biden campaign. I will tell you we've been in conversations about the work that we are doing on Fair Fight to expand elections and on Fair Count to make certain that we have an accurate census. And I look forward to continuing to work with the Biden campaign in every way possible to ensure his election in November.
Stacey Abrams said why she will not comment on her own prospects. She did acknowledge the growing push for Mr. Biden to select a woman of color.
But I've said time and again, I believe diversity is critical, and it can't simply be a comment. It has to be done in action. And yes, there's a signal that can be sent by having a black woman on the ticket. There's a signal to be sent by having a woman of color on the ticket.
Again, Mr. Biden expected to make his first pick of the VP by August 1st. He has said that he will select a woman. If you have any questions about the upcoming election, send them to us, our Decision 2020 team dedicated to bringing you answers, offering you context and perspective ahead of the November election. In his first meeting with a foreign leader since COVID-19 and the lockdown began, President Trump getting criticism for welcoming Poland's president. Just days before his own re-election contest, Poland's president visited the White House today. Both leaders say they want to get back to a normal schedule of events despite the global pandemic. The number of cases are going up in parts of the United States and the European Union. The Polish president recently faced his own firestorm for promising to protect Polish families from what he called an LGBTQ ideology. He said it was more dangerous than communism.
We still see some light rain in the area. It's breaking up, though. There are now more spots here in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia that aren't getting rain. We had a pretty good coverage of these light showers a little bit earlier, and they're moving from the southwest up toward the northeast, and there you see them kind of falling apart, that green area kind of shrinking up a little bit. But as we head down to the south, though, you can see here in Atlanta, we're looking pretty good. Just a few of those showers on the south side from I-20 southward, and then even down into parts of Meriwether County, now into Pike County, Upson County, moving into Lamar County. We have the northern part of this line that has some moderate to heavy rain with it. This originally back into Alabama had some thunder and lightning with it, and as it moves over to the east, it's a lot weaker now than it was. And in fact, remember we did have earlier a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for those counties on the south side. Well, that was canceled early just because of the severe weather threat has pretty much diminished. But the rain's not over, though. You still have some of those heavier showers here on the south side, as you can see them moving into parts of Upson County. Take a look at the bigger picture now, and you can see what we're talking about with our almanac. We got up to 83 for a high today, 5 degrees below the average. We should be around 88 this time of year. Our low this morning was 69. That's a degree below the average. And in Atlanta today, officially at Hartsfield-Jackson, only 3/100ths of an inch of rain. I know some of you got more than that. Others got nothing at all. So our surplus right now is just under 14 inches above where we should be in rainfall for the year. During the day tomorrow, we start off with a few clouds, and then our rain chances during the afternoon hours tomorrow are going to be lower than what we had today, topping off at about a 40% chance for showers and high temperatures in the lower 80s. So it's not going to be as much rain around today as tomorrow as we had out there for today. So here's what we're watching tonight. That rain, that heaviest activity is going to be on the south side, and then tomorrow in the morning, just a couple little spotty showers. At lunchtime, I think we'll see a break in the action and maybe even some sunshine breaking through at times. And then during the afternoon hours tomorrow, you can see not a lot of green, not really widespread rain coverage around, about that 40% chance for some showers. And even those that develop, we don't think will turn severe tomorrow. As we get into Friday, a dry start in the afternoon, just a few of those showers around, but the rain chance even lower than tomorrow. On Friday, they'll be at about 30%, and then down even more to 20% as we head into the weekend. But one thing we're going to be watching for the weekend, that Saharan dust that's going to be moving our way, and even some of that into tomorrow as well. You can see that indicated here tomorrow during the daytime hours, and then maybe a break in that on Friday, and then getting into Saturday and Sunday, a little better coverage of this Saharan dust moving in. Really, the only impacts this will have on us will be some colorful sunrises and sunsets, we think, and the sky's going to look kind of hazy during the day. We're really not overly concerned about bad air quality down here at the surface. That dust is going to be up in the upper levels. If you're overly susceptible to particulate matter in the atmosphere, just be aware of that on Saturday and Sunday, but we don't think it's going to be widespread breathing issues. 20% chance for showers Saturday and Sunday with highs near 90. Then we're back to a 30% chance for showers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with high temperatures in the mid and upper 80s.
The NFL is still on track to start the season on time, but will fans be allowed into the stadiums? We don't know that. According to multiple reports, that will depend entirely on where you are. The Athletic reports it will be up to the teams and their local governments to decide on how many fans can actually attend the games. The NFL is supposed to be releasing a set of recommendations for reopening in the next few weeks. Next Wednesday, baseball players will return to training to get ready for what will be the shortest season in Major League Baseball history. Braves players will split time between Gwinnett County and Atlanta during training, and they are free to live anywhere they so choose. The general manager of the ball club says there is excitement, but players need to understand all the details.
We're prepared from an operational standpoint. Now it's just a matter of what's the optimal way to set ourselves up with the rosters, knowing exactly how the rules are going to work.
He also said right now there are no reported positive COVID-19 cases within the organization. With the presence of COVID-19 and only a 60-game regular season, figuring out those new rules will be challenging. Our Braves insider is Grant McCauley. He looks ahead.
A universal DH, obviously the number one big thing. There's a separate injured list for COVID-related cases, whether somebody tests positive or is displaying symptoms. Trade deadline's August 31st. The date to be added to the roster to be eligible for postseason play is September 15th. That's later than it's ever been.
The first live American tennis competition with fans since the pandemic coming to Metro Atlanta. The top 8 American men in the world rankings will play, and the former Georgia Bulldog John Isner will headline. Only about 450 fans allowed per day. The event runs the 4th of July weekend. Ticket information is in the As Seen on TV section of the 11 Alive app. NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace spoke out this morning after the FBI concluded he was not the target of a hate crime. The FBI deemed that the rope was not a noose. It had been at the Talladega Speedway as early as last fall, and he had some comments of a candid nature on the Today Show.
It's still frustrating to know that, people are always going to test you and always just going to try to debunk you. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around now, from, saying I'm a fake and all this stuff, and that I reported it when it was news that was brought to me. It was information that was brought to me that was already reported. And so I was just kind of following suit. But all in all, it's another day.
All right, we take a break. We're back right after this.
Hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear, on 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime.
Here's a look at those light showers that are still lingering around Metro Atlanta, parts of North Georgia, and the rain's a little heavier there on the south side through parts of Upson County, Meriwether County, moving into Pike and Lamar counties as well. It's not severe though, just some bands of heavier rain moving through on the south side. That's going to keep pushing to the east. Most of that is going to stay to the south of us. Tomorrow, a few showers redevelop, but we'll have not as many of those around tomorrow. A rain chance at about 40% and high temperatures near 82 degrees. We warm up to 86 on Friday with a 30% chance for shower, and then a 20% chance for showers Saturday and Sunday with highs near 90 and hazy conditions thanks to that Saharan dust, and then a 30% chance for rain Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with highs holding in the 80s. Flip over to 11 Alive right now. We've got more news and weather for you on Up Late.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people or are you doing this to make money or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.